What is up, YouTube? Coach here from Echo Base Network, bringing you another Star Wars news wrap-up video where we discuss the happenings of the week. Today's episode includes Disney Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser continues to fail in a major way. Team Beef has released to their Patreon supporters a Quest port of Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, allowing you to play Star Wars from back in its gaming glory days in virtual reality. Atomic Mass Games has announced Star Wars Shatterpoint, a new miniature skirmish game from the makers of Legion and X-Wing. Dave Filoni has explained why Yoda and Yaddle speak differently. A couple of new Star Wars toys from the Vintage Collection have been revealed. Studio Ghibli has announced a collaboration with Lucasfilm. The director of Free Guy and Stranger Things is reportedly set to direct an upcoming Star Wars feature film. J.D. Dillard's Star Wars movie project is officially dead and buried. And last but not least, my thoughts on Andor, Episode 10. And finally, before we get started, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications for future Echo-based network content. In our opening story, Disney Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser continues to fail in a major way, turning this into a massive, massive failure. It's been recently reported that some of the latest Starcruiser voyages have only hit 25% occupancy, and as a result, Disney has been cutting cast member hours. The Starcruiser offers a 3-day, 2-night immersive Star Wars adventure on a fictitious cruise ship where guests become part of a conflict between the Resistance and the First Order. It includes an excursion to Batuu, themed meals, and live entertainment. Now, early on, there was a lot of excitement about this project. People were excited that they could actually go live for a few days in the Star Wars universe. But there was also a knee-jerk reaction with a $6,000 price point. Disney should have seen this coming, and the problem was the $6,000 price point. And then you add that the story is actually about the Resistance and the First Order. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't see a whole lot of Star Wars fans walking around in First Order t-shirts or Resistance t-shirts. There's not a lot of fans of that genre or that iteration of Star Wars. Hardcore fans, especially ones that are going to consider paying out $6,000 for just a couple of days, they want to see the Star Wars that they love. Now, that being said, Disney has been considering adding holidays to the voyages, changing the plot, or even adjusting the timeline to allow for the inclusion of other characters. Now, that's an idea. Ultimately, guys, I think this is going to be a failed project. I hate that Star Wars is failing, but it was just a bad idea. Price and the fact that this is a sequel trilogy deal and not something from the prequels or the original trilogy. In my opinion, that is what's going to draw in the fans. If you want to go and experience the Star Wars Starcruiser, you better hurry up, because I just don't think this is going to be sustainable for Disney. In our next story, Jedi Outcast was originally released in 2002. It was a massive success. I can even remember the day that it came out. I was over at Nick's house. Nick, my partner here at the channel, and we went to Electronic Boutique and we bought the game. We go home, we install it in his computer, and his computer wouldn't run the game. So we went right back up to EB, Electronic Boutique, and Nick bought a Voodoo graphics card, a Voodoo GPU. Remember those guys? Go home, install it, play the game, and we were in the world of Star Wars like never before. The Dark Forces series, also called the Jedi Knight series, is some iconic Star Wars gaming. I mean, Kyle Katarn, Mara Jade, Force Powers, the modding community, multiplayer. The games have it all. Are you listening, current game developers? Well, now you can go relive that game in a way you'd probably never thought possible back in 2002. Team Beef has released a VR port for the Quest, allowing you to become Kyle Katarn in virtual reality. The team has also released a port for Half-Life, Quake 1, 2, and 3, the original Doom, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and even Doom 3. Holy crap, Doom 3 in VR? I don't think I can handle that, guys. I remember sitting in total darkness at my parents' house playing that game at night and literally screaming like a little girl when things jumped out at me. That game was terrific, but VR, oh my gosh, what an experience. Simon Brown of Team Beef has announced that once the port is complete, it'll be made available to everyone over at SideQuest. Licensed miniature skirmish games are hot right now, and there is a resurgence in the hobby of maintaining miniatures. Atomic Mass Games is taking advantage of this opportunity and will be releasing Star Wars Shatterpoint, a miniatures game inspired by Star Wars cartoons. In our next story, Star Wars producer Dave Filoni has explained why Yaddle speaks completely different from Yoda, as fans realized in the animated Tales of the Jedi. In an interview with Nerdist, Filoni said, "Does she speak backwards?" I'm like, no. I don't think so. I think that's a Yoda thing. Frank Oz told me that Yoda speaks that way specifically in honor of his own master. That was what he had thought about it. I try to keep moving forward these thoughts, and Bryce on her own made a great Yaddle. Although Yoda is an iconic character in Star Wars, we don't know a lot about his species, his alien race. A lot of it is a mystery to us. Yes, we have Yaddle now, and we have Grogu. We know most about the character or that species from Yoda, but it is kind of nice to get a little bit more information about this species, knowing that there are some differences. In our next bit of news, Game Radar Plus was able to reveal a new addition to the Star Wars The Vintage Collection toy line. And now all toy collectors will be able to get their hands on Commander Colt from the Clone Wars animated series. This is a 3 3/4 inch figure. Commander Colt comes with 5 accessories and features retro Kenner packaging to complete the old school look. Now, if you're having trouble remembering this character, Colt was responsible for training new clone cadets and had to hold the line during Asajj Ventress's attack on Kamino. He was eventually struck down by Ventress, and he's a very cool-looking clone with his red-tinged armor. But that's not all, there's a second figure coming. That's right, folks, Boba Fett in his classic Kenner swag. For the Fett faithful and those who love the original 1979 figure, this is the figure for you. You could hurry and pre-order this one now. Studio Ghibli has announced a collaboration with Lucasfilm. Most people speculate that the collaboration will be what leaked last week when Disney Plus in Italy accidentally let the bunny out of the bag and posted the title Grogu and the Dust Bunnies, potentially dropping November 12th. Since this has happened, many have speculated that this will be part of the Star Wars anthology series, which focuses on the visuals and sounds of Star Wars. And this just in, Studio Ghibli has actually tweeted a picture or a post of a miniature Grogu. It makes me think that the speculation is probably true. This is going to be a Star Wars special about the audio and visuals of Star Wars. The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed that Sean Levy will be making a Star Wars film. It is unclear when this project could happen due to Levy's schedule. Currently, Levy is out working on Deadpool 3 with Ryan Reynolds, and that film has a release date of November 8th, 2024. Levy actually told The Hollywood Reporter, "If there was any doubt about my fanhood of Star Wars and all things a galaxy far, far away, I've eliminated that doubt." Now, guys, this is really interesting news, as it was just reported last week that Kathy Kennedy's bosses has told her to not make any announcements about Star Wars movies. And now it's happened twice since that news has reported. 2 Star Wars movie projects. It makes you wonder, is Kathy Kennedy or somebody at Lucasfilm leaking this information to the media outlets? I will leave that to you guys for speculation. And we will be discussing this specifically this Saturday night on our live stream show. Speaking of Star Wars movies, back in February of 2020, it was confirmed that J.D. Dillard would be making a Star Wars movie. When asked recently about his Star Wars project, Dillard said, "Star Wars was unfortunately no longer a thing. It was not for lack of trying." Now, he was asked what his Star Wars movie would have felt like. Dillard hesitated, and he measured his words very carefully. And he went on to speak about something that is very near and dear to the hearts of many Star Wars fans, the game TIE Fighter. J.D. Dillard said that TIE Fighter changed his life. His father was an aviator, and he loved flight simulator games. And TIE Fighter was the greatest game that he had ever played, and he wanted to make his movie based on this game. You know, as a fan of Star Wars and space battles, and that game particularly, I'm very disappointed that we're not going to get that, and that this movie, this project, is now in the graveyard of all canceled projects under the regime of Kathy Kennedy. And finally, we can't have a Star Wars news roundup this week without mentioning Episode 10 of Andor, No Way Out. What a great episode. I was actually talking to a friend of mine earlier today about that episode, and I said, you know, that movie, or that show rather, it was great. It was a great episode, whether it was Star Wars or not. Like, that was a terrific episode. Andy Serkis, chef's kiss. The man was awesome. Love it. And I hope you will come by Saturday night as we talk about all things Andor. Got a lot to talk about. So as we always say here, guys, thank you so much for being here. We are your Echo Base Network. May the Force be with you. Head over to our merch store. Go visit us on Patreon. Consider becoming an EBN channel member here, as we have so many perks for you guys. Nick will be back tomorrow night on Saturday night with me. We'll be doing all things Star Wars. You don't want to miss it. We got the best Star Wars live stream you're going to see. Anyways, guys, may the Force be with you. Coach here. We'll see you guys on the next one.